Every empire builds monuments to its triumphs, but the truly desperate build monuments to their secrets. In the winter of 1945, near the towering cliffs of Nag Hammadi in Upper Egypt, a peasant named Muhammad Ali al-Saman dug into the rich earth for fertilizer. What his shovel struck was not a root nor a stone. It was a massive, sealed earthenware jar. For a moment, he hesitated. He lived in a world where ancient jars contained jinn, spirits of old malice trapped by forgotten kings. But curiosity, or perhaps the eternal human hunger for hidden treasure, cracked the seal. Inside, there were no gold coins. There were no jewels. There were 13 papyrus codices, bound in untamed leather, their pages written in the sharp, elegant lines of ancient Coptic. Muhammad Ali did not know it, but he had just unearthed an alternative history of the cosmos. He had found a library of lost Gospels, hidden for 16 centuries, that presented a version of Jesus, of creation, and of human divinity so radical that someone in the 4th century preferred to bury it in the desert rather than watch it burn. In the early 4th century, the Roman Empire was fractured, bleeding, and looking for a spine. Emperor Constantine found that spine in the growing movement of Christianity. But the faith he adopted was not a monolith. It was a swirling, chaotic ocean of competing visions. For an empire that required absolute obedience, this spiritual anarchy was dangerous. A state needs order. An empire needs a single creed, a single book, and a single hierarchy. Between the councils of Nicaea and the decrees of late 4th century bishops like Athanasius, the boundaries of faith were drawn with iron ink. A definitive list of books was forged, the New Testament we know today. Books that emphasized community, historical line, and submission to the church were preserved. But the human spirit rarely surrenders its secrets without a fight. The monks who copied the texts at Nag Hammadi saw the shadow of the imperial church stretching across Egypt. They knew their books were targeted for destruction, and so they wrapped them in leather, placed them in a jar, and committed them to the silent custody of the sand. They were waiting for an audience that hadn't been born yet. Among the ruins lay the Apocryphon of John. In the Gnostic vision, the creator of this material world is not the supreme being. They called him the Demiurge, or Yaldabaoth, a blind, arrogant deity who looked out into the void.
I am God, and there is no other beside me.
But the texts whisper a cosmic twist. Yaldabaoth is mistaken. He is a secondary entity, born of a cosmic accident, who created the physical universe as a flawed imitation of the true, transcendent realm of light. The human body, in this view, was a vessel of clay designed by the Demiurge to keep a spark of the true, infinite divine light trapped and dormant. We are, by nature, sleepwalkers. And Christ? In these texts, Christ is not a victim sent to appease an angry father. He is a luminous saboteur. He slips through the cracks of the Demiurge's prison system to bring a message of remembrance.
If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you.
This shifted the entire focus of salvation. It was the realization that you do not need a bridge to the divine because you are the divine, temporarily forgotten. It is easy to see why these concepts sent waves of anxiety through the early Vatican. If the divine spark is already within every individual, then bishops, tithes, cathedrals, and excommunications lose their power. The early heresy hunters, like Irenaeus of Lyons, fought these ideas with ferocious intellectual energy. They insisted on a historical Christ and a visible, structured church. For centuries, history was written by the victors. The Gnostics were painted as eccentric heretics whose ideas were rightly discarded by the March of Progress. When the Earth opened up in 1945, it became clear that this was not a minor eccentric sect. This was a sophisticated, deeply philosophical countercurrent. The discovery didn't scare the Vatican because it proved the Bible was a lie. It scared the modern religious consciousness because it proved that early Christianity was an open battlefield of ideas, and that what we call orthodoxy was simply the version that aligned with the power of the Roman Empire. The sands of Egypt held their secret for 1,600 years. But the questions never truly left the human psyche. We see it in the cathars of medieval France, in the psychological work of Carl Jung, who studied these texts intensely, and we see it in our modern science fiction, from The Matrix to stories of simulated realities. There is something deeply rooted in the human condition that suspects this world is not quite right. The 2,000-year-old discovery did not provide new dogmas. It reminded us that the search for meaning has always been a dangerous journey, caught between the human need for institutional security and the equally powerful human hunger for absolute spiritual freedom. The jar in the Egyptian desert was never truly emptied, but merely opened a door into an ongoing, unresolved mystery within ourselves.